Good afternoon students and welcome to bio class. For the first two classes we had started that health and disease concept, and already I have told you many times health and disease, these are the vast concepts. If you want to look into these two concepts thoroughly in detail, means it will take many days classes. So in your PUC, when we will start our PUC syllabus, at that time we will come to know in detail. Today let me start with another beautiful concept that I already have studied in our 9th class itself, that is in a high school. Before going to the class, I had asked one question in my previous video. I had asked one question related to the onion, use of onion. So regarding that question, I have got many answers from many students. So many students, Bhagya, Priyanka, Megha, then Shravan, then Priyanka, then Vinodini. So many students, many students, they have sent their answer, and most of the students have written half-page answer for that one. And most of the students they are going to see that onion used in different points of view. So I will appreciate that one. For me, I felt very happy for those answers that you have given. And here what my question was, while sleeping in the old days, they are usually doing that one, but here now what we are doing when we are getting cough, cold, or sneezing, or headache, or fever, whatever it might be, nowadays we are starting using the tablets, taking of tablets, taking of syrups. But old days, instead of tablets and syrups, even though they were present, they were using home remedies majorly. Such kind of one home remedy is using of onion, cut onion. So what my question was, while sleeping, old people, if they are having the cold, if they are having the running nose, do you know that one, running nose, right? If you are having the running nose and if you are having the cold, at that time what they used to do is that while sleeping, beside to their bed or beside to their head, they used to keep one plate, that plate containing a cut onion. So if they sleep overnight by keeping the onion beside to them, so next day morning they will be fresh. Or they will be a little bit having the relief from that cold what they were having in the night. So how it is possible? Why? What is the importance of that onion? My question was that one. So for this question, many students sent different answers. So one major thing is that the onion what we are using, if the onion is cut, means it is having one potentiality. That cut onion I am talking about, that cut onion, it is having the potentiality of attracting the pathogens, attracting the bacteria. So majorly bacteria are present everywhere through their, so bacteria present in air, water, in the food, on the surface of the food, on the surface of our body, inside our body. So bacteria are omnipresent, they are present everywhere in almost all conditions. Such kind of millions together bacteria are present in the air, right? And those bacteria, majorly most of the bacteria are respiratory disease related bacteria might be there, most of the bacteria. If the person is affected from that cold, that means already he is having the bacteria or the pathogen or the microorganism in his respiratory system, right? Already he is having. Again, if those bacteria are entering, why the body is susceptible here already, the body is weak already, then again some more microorganisms may enter, that chance is there. Hence the chances of increasing of that coldness may lead there over there, so it may increase. So here if cut onion is there, means side, it is having the potentiality of attracting or absorbing the pathogenic microorganisms. That means not only that one, even it can absorb the surrounding microorganisms if it is very near to our body or face. And because of that reason, even those airborne pathogens causing the respiratory disease or coldness, even though they are entering through our nose while we are sleeping, at that time in front of our nose, that is beside our head, if the cut onion is present, means it will absorb those microorganisms. But still microorganisms are already present in your body. Why? Because already we are having the cold. So those microorganisms can be looked after by our immune system. So our immune system will fight to that one, hence we will get a lot of relief. And of course it is having the sulfur content, the good sulfur content vegetable that onion is. So it is having a lot of things, and because of that reason only we are strictly told to not use cut onions while having the meals or preparing the food if it is cut 1 hour or 2 hours back. Right now if you are preparing the food means, or any food items means, instantly we have to cut the onion and we have to add that one, that onion, cut onions. But thing is, most of the times we will cut the onions before 1 or 2 hours of that meal or lunch preparation. So don't go for that one. That is, and even we should not eat the onions which are cut 1 or 2 hours before our lunch or dinner. We should not eat that one. Why? Because it is having lot of microorganisms content. We have to avoid that one. Yes, onion, it is the best powerful absorbent of such kind of pathogenic microorganisms. So onion, it is a best home remedy, medicine for the cold also. Okay, so apart from that one, so today let me start another major concept that already you are familiar with. So in the first class onwards, we are looking at the cell, that is eukaryotic cell I am talking about. We are looking at the cell. We are having two types of cell, prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell. So depending on the cell number, if you want to categorize the organisms, majorly we are having two types: unicellular organisms and multicellular organisms, right? Unicellular organism is the body itself is made up of just one cell. That single cell itself is one body, just like amoeba, a bacteria. So those are having just a single cell. That means Monera and Protista, out of 5 kingdoms: Monera, Protista, Mycota, Plantae, Animalia. Out of 5 kingdoms, starting 2 kingdoms, Monera and Protista, all the members are having just a single cell as their body, unicellular organisms. Apart from them, remaining almost all organisms are multicellular. So here today I am talking about the multicellular organisms. In the multicellular organisms, say for example, let us consider our body only. We are multicellular organisms, right? We are having a lot of cells, millions, billions, trillions. We are having trillions together cells, lakh crore cells. My question is whether all the cells in our body, they are performing their work separately or they are performing their work in the grouped coordinated manner. Yes, they are performing their work in the coordinated manner. So here between one cell to the another cell in the body, there is a coordination. So coordination means mutually they are working, and because of that coordination, some similar cells, they are grouping together and they are going to form a special part called as a tissue, right? Whether we are having just tissues? No, we are having organs. Next level. First level cell, cellular level. Next level tissue. Next level organ. It's the next level organ system. So final level is organ system. We are having organ system, respiratory system, digestive system, excretory system, and we are having so many organs of kidney, liver, stomach, lungs, heart, brain. We are having tissues. So if you break the organs, we are getting the tissues. And today in this video, let us talk about the tissues. What actually the tissues are, how they are composed, and in case of plants and animals, how the tissues are going to change and what is their function, right? So if we start with the concept of tissue. So tissue means, what one thing we can understand here is that if we consider the definition means, So here tissue means the group of similar cells. Here in the similar sense means structure of those cells is similar. The group of similar cells are performing same function. This is at most important. So all the cells must be performing same function, and thing is that so those cells, group of the cells should be having the same origin, arrived from the same cells, and they should be performing same function here. Say for example, let me consider a skin, right? So if I zoom out the skin cells through a microscope, so I can see a lot of cells, so many cells, polygonal shaped cells, so many cells I can see here, and here all the cells throughout my skin are same. That means similar cells, and all the cells are performing the same function. So what is the function? Protecting internal organs or internal parts by the external environment, one thing, and apart from that one, it is having helps in the formation of a sweat, that means arising of the sweat outside. So other lot of works it is having, so keeping the body temperature cool compared to the outside temperature. So lot of works it is doing, but thing is all the cells performing same function. Or say for example, if you consider heart, it is made up of a special tissue, cardiac tissue. The tissue name is cardiac tissue, and if I zoom out the cardiac tissue, all the cells are looking same. That means in that tissue all the cells are same, looking same, and performing same function. What is that function? That is the beating of heartbeat, contraction and relaxation, that is pumping of blood. So all the cells are performing the same function. Such kind of group of cells will consider as a tissue. We are having lot of tissues, we are having different kinds of tissue, and those tissues also performing special function. Say for example, let me consider one cell here just, right, and here group of cells. So we are having so many group of cells instead of one cell. Of course, one cell will perform all the functions. So now it is ready for performing all the function. Whatever the function exhibited by my body, so one of my cell will perform all those works, right? It will perform the works. Now this kind of cell will divide. Now this cell will divide, forms two cells. Two cells will again divide, forms 4 cells, 8 cells, 16 cells, 32 cells. So many cells are going to form, and all the cells will group together to form a mass. So in this mass all the cells are similar and performing same function. Why? Because origin is same. Now here it is also performing same function. Whatever the function done by single cell, then the same function done by all these cells but together. Now the question is, then why if the single cell performing that function, why there is necessity of combining all the cells together and performing that same function? Yes, the reason is that compared to one man, instead of one man, if many men are there means the efficiency will increase. ನಾವು ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಗಾದೆ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, ಒಬ್ಬರಿಗಿಂತ ಇಬ್ರು ಲೇಸ್ ಅಂತ. So here, as the quantity increases, of course function is same, as the quantity of the cell here it is going to increase, the efficiency is going to increase. So body efficiency will increase. That is a major thing. When the body efficiency will increase, automatically body energy level is more. So energy level is more. When the body energy level is more, then the organism is considered to be the more active. That means we are the active organisms throughout the day. So we are having lot of energy. Why? Because we are complex organism. Keep one thing in your mind. As the organism becomes more and more complex, then so it is having a special compartments, so special tissues performing one work separately. Right? If the organism is too simple, if its organization is simple, very simple means, then so division of labor is less. So here I will call it as a division of labor. Division of labor means here one tissue performing one work. Some laborers working for one function, some laborers are working for another function. Say for example, if you are constructing a big building, right? While constructing that big building, so many workers will be there, but thing is, few workers will perform just one work. So few workers work will be just making the concrete. Few workers work is passing that concrete material to upper side. So other few workers, they are performing just pouring that concrete and making that bed. And other workers, what their function will be there, just supplying the other raw materials. Some others work will be the pouring of water. That means here we will consider as a division of labor. Right, here also tissues are considered to be the division of labors. One tissue perform one work. So here multicellular organisms usually those are having the tissues. Today in this video, let us consider what will be the difference in case of plant tissue and in case of animal tissue. So here, in that sense, before going to that one, let me consider the plant versus animal. Yes. What is the major difference between us, that means animals, as well as the plant, from the point of view tissues? Okay, before going to that one, let me consider the major differences. Plants and animals both are higher organisms. Here I am talking about the higher plants and animals. So both are higher, and here the plants are having cells, we are also having cells. Plants are having tissues, we are also having tissues. Plants, these are having the organs, we are also having organ systems, organs. And here plants do not have organ systems particularly, but we are having organ system. That means compared to plant, we are one step higher in the point of its organization. So that is one thing. And second major thing, plants are stationary, they are static, they cannot walk from one distance, one place to another one. So plants will be there in that place only throughout their life. But what about animals? So they can move from place to place. Now think, if it is so, then what will be the major difference then? Plants will be located at one place only means, so for those plants energy level is less, requirement of energy is less. Why? Because it is not moving, it is not wandering from place to place. But here we are showing the movement continuously. That means we are having, for that movement to happen, we are having the special cells, muscle cells. Those muscle cells need lot of energy for the movement of the body. So in that sense, we require lot of energy compared to plants. Daily we are using lot of energy. Second thing, since plants are located at one place only and the plants are growing in the upright posture, and that posture should be strong enough to avoid any kind of disturbance, air disturbance, rain disturbance, whatever it is coming in any way. So it should be stable, by firmly fixing at one place. For that to happen, plants inside, they must be having a strong structure, internal support to stand firmly. So because of that reason, inner side, I'm talking about the big plants. Inner side, plants are having dead cells, lot of dead cells. Why? Because those dead cells will give extra strength to be strong for that plant. But we animals, we are having all the cells which are there inside our body, all those are living cells. But we may be having the dead cells outside, but living cells inside. And if all the cells are living means automatically metabolic process is more, automatically all the cells are working, automatically energy level is more. But here most of the cells are dead cells in the plant, hence energy level is less. And when these major things are going to separate, automatically lifestyle of a plant and lifestyle of animals are going to change. One major difference, So these are autotrophs and we are heterotrophs. We are depending on the plants for the food purpose. So along with that one, if we consider the tissues, plant tissue and animal tissue, major differences. What might be the major difference here? And here let me draw a table related to the plant tissues. Let me consider first plant tissues. So here plant tissues, they are majorly divided into two types. The first one is meristematic tissue and the second one is permanent tissue. So major categories of the tissues in case of plants: meristematic tissue and permanent tissue, right? And second one, here the meristematic tissue we can divide it into three types. Let me tell you what is that meristematic tissue is. So those three types are: the first one is apical meristem, second one is okay, let me write another one. Okay, this one let us consider intercalary meristem, and the third one is lateral meristem. Three types of meristematic tissues. In the permanent tissue we are having two types majorly. The first one is simple permanent tissue and the second one is complex permanent tissue. We are having two types, simple and complex. Simple permanent tissue we are having three types here. The first one is the first one is parenchyma, and the second one is collenchyma, and the third one is sclerenchyma. So these are the three types of simple permanent tissues, and we are having two types of complex tissues. As already you know the major, the first one is xylem and next one is phloem, right? And one more thing, what I given the table here, this is the just a brief bifurcation of the plant tissues. Again we can divide the tissues into so many subdivisions. So here if it starts from the plant tissues, right? So we are having two types of tissues here, meristematic tissue and permanent tissue. Meristematic tissue means it's a simple meaning always dividing. So in this tissue all the cells are continuously dividing, their work is just division. So all the cells are continuously dividing and the mass of cell is continuously increasing. And we are also having such kind of similar cells when our body is developing, when we are growing. But here especially meristematic tissue means those tissue cells are always dividing. Permanent tissue means these cells will not divide. So cell division is stopped, growth is stopped, right? So these are the major two categories here. If you want to observe the first one, where this meristematic tissue is present, as already I have told you, when the plant part is continuously growing, that part will be having the meristematic tissue. Now guess. Now okay, let us, before going to that one, let me ask you one question. We are also growing, plant also growing, right? Then what is the difference between our growth and plant growth? Yes, what is the difference there? Here majorly in most of our body parts growth is limited. That means to a certain size the part size will increase. So for example, brain size, heart size, liver size, stomach size, hand size. So those are increased, or else our height. So those are increasing to certain height and growth is stopped, growth is limited. What about in case of plants? In case of plant, growth is continuous, but thing is that continuous growth occurs at particular positions, and in such kind of position this meristematic tissue is present. Now imagine if you observe the tip of the plant. So the tip of the plant will be always fresh, light green, and that is growing part, continuous growing part. So that is having the meristematic tissue. Such kind of meristematic tissue, if you want to observe, it is present here, this portion, that is having the meristematic tissue. And also plant will grow in side direction also, branches, plant will form the branches. So side, suppose if you consider the stem, straight stem side regions, it might be having many options: flower, fruit, leaves, buds, sub branches. All this to happen in the side region also, here also tissue is there, right? And one more thing, tip region, it is having the continuous dividing cells, the tip region is growing. Along with that one, the overall length of the plant also increasing. Why the length of the plant is increasing means, so here it is having the one special tissue, here also it is having one special tissue. Here overall length of the plant is increasing. Why? Because here the cells are dividing, and here also cells are dividing, the tip region length is increasing continuously. And here these two types of growths are occurring in this direction, that means longitudinal direction. But thing is, plant will not grow in longitudinal direction only, plant will grow in horizontal direction also. That means diameter of the plant will increase. So the diameter increases. If the diameter is increasing means inside there also one growing tissue. So that is the third type. Like that, we are having three types of growing tissues on the basis of locations. So the region, the tissue which is present at the tip region, that is called as the apical meristem, which is present at the tip region. And the tissue which is present here means the location is in between node regions here. So here these are the nodes. So observe my marks. Best you can observe the nodes in the sugar cane. Suppose if it is a sugar cane means sugar cane is having the marks, so many marks it is having. So these marks we will call them as a node. In between the two nodes, the gap is called as internode, right? And in the node region, we can get anything outside: leaf, flower, fruit, birds, branches, whatever it might be. And in between such kind of nodes, in between the permanent tissue, we are having the special kind of tissue, that is intercalary meristem. And here apical and intercalary both are increasing the height of the plant, that means longitudinal growth, whereas the lateral meristem, so it is increasing the girth of the plant. So overall girth of the plant, diameter of the plant is increasing in this way, right? So all these together they are going to form meristematic tissue, that means growth of the plant. So here the cells are continuously dividing. If we consider the permanent cells, so permanent tissue, it is formed by the meristematic tissue. Keep that thing in your mind. When the cell is going to form, say for example, let me consider let me take a seed. Imagine now the seed is present in the soil. This is the soil surface, seed we are having. and we are giving the water to that one. After few days, it will germinate, seed will germinate, and small leaf-like structure will arises outside, and after few days the structure becomes still more larger, and finally the structure becomes like this. Yes, so how we can see the development of a plant? From the seed we are getting a small plant, and the process occurs continuously. When the seed will germinate, from that one whatever the plant we are observing, so we will call it as a plantlet, small plants. So here all the cells work is just dividing, that means all the cells are meristematic cells, right? When the cells will divide, after certain growth, some cells will stop division and start performing other works. Why? Because plants need other works. Those other working cells obtained from the meristematic tissue are called as permanent tissues. Simple, in the simple way, permanent tissue cells are divided from meristematic cells. But thing is, these cells will not divide, right? And in the permanent tissues we are having two types, simple and complex. So in a simple permanent tissue we are having three types: parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. And usually parenchyma tissue, it is present in the soft parts of the plant body. Say for example the leaves. In the leaves if you observe, so all of these cells are the parenchyma cells. In the flower, here also in the flower if you observe, so here all the cells are having the parenchyma cells. Not only there, in many portion it is there. And usually, say for example, if you consider the outer portion, the skin of the plant, just like our skin, plant is also in skin, outer layer. That outer layer, this outer layer, it is made up of parenchyma cells. But thing is, those cells will not divide. Next one, if we consider collenchyma, collenchyma cell, we will consider it as a living mechanical tissue. So this one is the living mechanical tissue. That means plant will get the mechanical support from this collenchyma, and those cells are in the living condition. Say for example, if I consider this portion, this portion, this portion. So this portion we will call it as a petiole. Petiole means leaf holding stack. This petiole. Here the petiole is flexible. Here the leaf is there here in front, so this stick is flexible, but it is having the mechanical support. So there we can observe the collenchyma, and in the fruit holding portion also. And if we consider sclerenchyma, sclerenchyma we will consider it as a dead mechanical tissue. This is a living one and this is the dead mechanical tissue. As I have told you, so the bigger plants at their inner side they will be having dead tissues. Those dead tissues are having a sclerenchyma position, sclerenchyma cells. So their work is giving most mechanical support compared to collenchyma, and they are present outer side also. So apart from parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma, these cells together next they are going to form complex permanent tissue. Simple means just one type cells. Complex means group of these cells. So in complex permanent tissues we are having at most important the xylem and phloem, right? These are the major tissues, xylem and phloem. So xylem we will consider it as water conducting tissue, whereas a phloem is food conducting tissue, as already we know. And when we will look after this, it is a major thing. We can elaborate this thing in many ways. So just keep this thing in your mind. Xylem, water conducting tissue, and phloem is food conducting tissues. So this is how we can differentiate, we can categorize the plant tissues in different ways. This is just a brief introduction for the categorization, right? And here okay, before ending the class let me ask you a question. The question is that what are the major differences between the plant and animals? Once again the question is major differences between plant and animal. Of course there are a lot of difference. What we will observe the differences between plants and animals. Yes, make one table, make two columns, one side plant, one side animal, write the differences between these two, plant and animals. So in the next class let us continue with the tissue portion in detail. Thank you.